I think that today's video is going to be interesting, as we're getting into the cups that start to boost up in quality compared to the last two cups, the Star Cups, which hold quite a few fan favorites. But like every cup, there are a handful of stinkers in here. But with that being said, if you guys enjoyed my coverage of all the Star Cup tracks, make sure to leave a like on the video if you are enjoying it. And without wasting any more time, let's jump in to the Star Cups. Starting off Super Mario Kart Star Cup is going to be Koopa Beach 1. And we're starting out almost the exact same as Choco Island 1. In that, it's not a good course. In fact, I might even argue that it may be worse than that. Why? It's a f***ing circle. What else do you want me to say? Okay, I guess there's moss you can run into. But it's still a circle. And normally I like circles. Going into D tier, end of story. Choco Island 2 is not much better. Okay, maybe that's a little harsh. But I just don't care for this course. The ramps are kinda neat, but I don't know what happened with the giant chocolate section towards the middle of the track. Do you remember who did that? Just why? I'm struggling to find more things to say here at this point. So let's just throw this into C tier and call it a day. Next is Vanilla Lake 1. And... oh, seriously? Another fucking circle? Do you people only know how to come up with one shape? What's the goal of this game? And don't even get me started on the ice blocks. I can manage the ice physics, but come on! These ice blocks are so aggravating to avoid. And it just makes this track even more random and fun. So you, my friend, are going into D tier. And that's final. Finally, a good course in this cup. Bowser Castle 3 is easily the standout cookie of this game's Star Cup. I like all the different paths you can take, and it makes it unique compared to the other two Bowser's Castles in this game. So I still stand by that this is the best Bowser's Castle in this game. Though I do prefer the version we got in the VCP. Because that one actually improves it by a long shot. Like, good lord. But that's another story. But the OG version of this still solidly goes into mid-B tier. And finally, we have Mario Circuit 4 to conclude this game's Star Cup. This is the only Mario Circuit in this game to not receive a remake in some capacity outside of Super Circuit. And I feel like this deserves to come back one day. Layout-wise, yeah, this is literally Mario Circuit 3 but mirrored, but at least it changes it up enough to make it different. I do like the additional pipes they added, and the few turns it has makes this probably the second best Mario Circuit in this game. So for that, it's gonna go into low B tier. And that concludes SMK's Star Cup. Not gonna lie, this cup contained two of some of the worst courses in this entire game. While Choco Island 2 was mid, and Bowser Castle 3 and Mario Circuit 4 just barely saving it. But BC3 easily takes the crown as the standout course in this cup. But will the other cups improve on this one? Well, let's see. Starting off, Mario Kart 64 Star Cup is... Wario Stadium. I'm sorry, but I do not like this course at all. You wanna know why it took nearly 3 decades to remake this track? Well, that's because this track is so excruciatingly long. Such that I even started to fall asleep on lap 2 and crashed out lap 3 just to sheer boredom I had with this track. And not to mention that there is no obstacles whatsoever. Sure, you can stay there with other courses, but at least they have good layout designs. Here, I'm sorry, but the layout would have been good if it was either 2 laps or a 3-lap section-based track. You know, like they did with N64 Rainbow Road later on. But I'm getting ahead of myself. And also, why did they pick the Raceway theme for this course? Like, it's so unfitting. So yeah, Wario Stadium here is easily an E-tier course. Next up is this game, Sugarland, which is definitely better than the last track, that's for sure. Not my favorite, but I still quite enjoy it. The light reflections here are nice. The music, while repeated from Frappe Snowland, is still good. And the penguins can be a bit troublesome if you're not careful. But my only gripe with this course is in the cave section. Because I don't know why, but there's such an extremely sharp left turn in there. And the big penguins do become obnoxious to try and dodge. But beyond that, it's still solid. It's gonna get a low B tier. Royal Raceway is another really solid course. In fact, it's probably my third favorite track in the whole game. If you were to show off the charm of Mario Kart 64 in a nutshell, then this would be the course. I like the aesthetic. The music here, well again, being the 4th time we've heard it, it's still really good. And gotta love how in time trials you can explore Peach's castle. That's probably why it boosts this course up a few points. My only issue with this course is that I just wish there was something going on in the canyon section aside from going into the castle. But beyond that, I don't really have that many complaints. It's still a really good course. Nothing really too special, but I can see why it's a fan favorite. So, Royal Raceway gets to sit solidly in mid-B tier. And to conclude this cup is this game's Bowser's Castle. Strangely, this is one of 2 3D Bowser Castle tracks to take place in the Special Cup. Instead, it's in this cup. And the other 3D Bowser's Castle is in the Lightning Cup of all things. An interesting choice, but we'll get to that when we get to that. As for this one though, yeah, I like what they went for here. It's definitely an upgrade compared to the last game's 3 Bowser's Castles. I like its layout, its music is pretty chilling, and I totally forgot how lethal these storms can be. I'm totally used to Wii's version where they're not that much of a threat at all. But in this game, they do not fuck about at all, as they can stop you in your tracks and spin you out no matter what, if you even dare to go near them or touch them. And that's just what makes the Bowser's Castles unique, as I stated in my video on them a while back. And all of the repurposed Bowser painting assets from Lethal Lava Land. It's nothing really too major, but I still find that detail to be really charming. So for that, he's gonna go into mid-B tier. And that concludes this game's Star Cup. I think the standout course for this cup was, I'd say Royal Raceway. Sugarland and Bowser's Castle though are still solid courses, but Wario Stadium does bring this cup down a decent amount. You know, it's actually ironic. The fact that Super Circuit Star Cup isn't even the next cup in the game. Instead, it's the Lightning Cup, which is supposed to be the final cup of the original A we had to go through. So, I guess we're saving these four goodies for another day. What about that? Kicking off Super Circuit Star Cup is... Do I even need to say it? Snowland. But honestly, this course would have been alright if it weren't for the one thing that throws you off the second you start racing on it. The screen shaking throughout the entire f***ing race. Do you remember how the Nintendo team back in 2001 thought of this? Just why? That's the only thing that holds this thing back from being fine. It's so off-putting that I even almost went off-road or fell into the icy waters because of this. But at least it's better than Vanilla Lake. At least the penguins are a average obstacle. But yeah, this course is an easy D tier. On a more positive note though, Ribbon Road is actually alright. It's a really solid course. Granted, the Mario Kart 8 version of this is way better than this aesthetically. But I don't know, I like the original background a decent amount. It's definitely a unique aesthetic when it comes to Mario Kart tracks. Although the music on this course, after hearing Mario Kart 8's new remix of the song, definitely gave me whiplash. It's still an alright song though. And plus, you just can't mind the amount of boost power stars on the track, making for some intense and comeback potential. But yeah, not much else to say here. I'm going to be placing it in mid-B tier. Next up is Yoshi Desert. I'm not entirely sure as to why we have a second desert course, considering we already have the more unique desert course in the form of Cheeseland. But hey, what can you do? Regardless, it's fine enough. It could do with a proper remake outside of Tour. But the thing is, it hasn't, as it's been beaten out by other desert courses that are worse than this. So yeah, not ton to say about this course. The music is catchy, the layout is alright, and the piranha plants and the quicksand make for an interesting killer obstacle, even if it's not dry desert levels of killer, despite that course being worse, but whatever. I do like the Yoshi Sphinx in the background, but other than those, it's just another desert track. Doesn't even relate to Yoshi at all, despite the music having some Yoshi motifs and the Sphinx. So for that, it's going into C tier. And finally, we have Bowser Castle 3. Honestly, this may be my favorite Bowser's Castle in Super Circuit. I don't know, there's just something about the unique color palette compared to the other three Bowser's Castles in this game. The layout is fun, especially when the jumps at one point of the track, even if it can get a bit tormenting at certain parts, like trying not to run into the thwomps. I do like the addition of Kamek flying in the background at the end of the track. But is it just me, or am I so used to Wii's remake of this? Either way, this course is pretty good. And it's going to be going into mid-B tier. And that concludes Super Circuit Star Cup. I think my favorite out of this cup is probably Ribbon Road, with Bowser Castle 3 following close behind. Wow, our second Sherbetland of this video. What a surprise. But anyways, Double Dash's Star Cup kicks off with his Sherbetland rendition. And yeah, it's not really a good course. It's not really bad. It has a little bit more going on than the N64 one. But I don't know. I'm one of those people who likes the fidgety controls Double Dash has, but when it's paired with the ice physics here, then it's not really good. Especially towards the end when you have to avoid all them freezes. Seriously, that is a nightmare to deal with. Because one touch and you get Elsed. No, I'm just kidding. But seriously, if you touch them things, you turn into a block of ice. It's a good thing Nintendo nerfed them as time went on. I guess the music is nice as well, but it's just your generic ice track. And yep, Mario Kart 8 brought this and Dry Desert, the two worst courses in the whole game, back as retros. I'm kind of holding out my hopes for them both when we get there, particularly Shermanland, but yeah, it's going into C tier, I'm sorry. Now back to the good courses with good old Mushroom City. I really enjoy this course, even if we've gotten more city courses over time, but I digress. The music carried over from Mushroom Ridge is still a bop. The nighttime atmosphere is really pretty. I like the multiple paths you can take with this course. Like, you can go to the right and stay straight the whole time while taking to the right, or stay straight, take a right, and pray you won't hit a car. Because the cars in this are quite difficult to avoid. Although they aren't too difficult, which is a good thing, really. Take notes, Toad's Turnpike. And being honest, I just expect when a car or the Wiggler bus, if that's even possible, is about to hit me. For one of the first city courses in the series, this really was a fun one. So I'd say it goes into A tier. Do I smell a great course? Apparently I do. I never said something like that, but that just goes to show that Yoshi Circuit is so creative in its own right. I say that because it's in the shape of a Yoshi, which is one of the coolest things ever done in the Mario Kart game. I do kind of find it ironic that we have an oval layout and a Yoshi layout in the same game. But about that, this course is so much fun to play on. Yeah, it's a bit trippy with the turns and such, but that makes it all the more fun. The music is as catchy as always. I love the little details like the Yoshi copter from Yoshi's Island, the funny and cute sides, and you gotta love taking the shortcut that cuts off Yoshi's hand. Not literally, but you get what I mean. And I guess there's also the hidden tunnel shortcut that people always point out when this track is remade. I think the hate towards that is a bit overblown if I'm honest, but more on that when we get to the remakes. I don't usually take it, but it's somewhat of a neat shortcut. So yeah, you can already tell, Yoshi Circuit is a great course. It's not an S tier course or anything, but it's still a high A tier. Oh man, I did not realize how much fan favorites we have in these Star Cups. Probably even more than the last few cups, if I'm honest. They have their fair share, but probably not as much as these. But I'm getting off topic. DK Mountain is easily the best course of this cup by far. And that's saying something because the last course was also great. I love the idea of having to go up to the top of the mountain and then having to traverse down it. Yeah, other DK courses have done this as well, but this was their first attempt at it. And I think they nailed it here. The music as well is also a bop, and I'm glad that another course we'll get to in the next video shares it. Also, I just wanted to mention that when I played this for time trials, my combo kinda struggle busted the brutal turns this course has. This is my double dash combo if anyone was curious, by the way. And that just goes to show that this course has some insane turns on it. Again, they're challenging, but who doesn't love a bit of a challenge? Especially when there's boulders coming down. And like Yoshi Circuit, there's also a little shortcut. Although this one takes quite a bit of skill to pull off. So overall, a great way to end up this scope. So it's gonna go at the top of A tier. And that was Double Dash's Star Cup. DK Mountain cleared this cup by a long shot. But Yoshi Circuit doesn't fall too far behind. Well, what do you know? We have another DK track immediately after we just covered DK Mountain. But anyways, DK Pass is going to start off DS's Star Cup. This course is kind of like Shrew Ridge, where I see a lot of people disliking it, and yeah, I can kind of see why. There's no resemblance of Donkey Kong at all here. And yeah, we have got a better Snowy Mountain course in Wieners, admittedly better than this, but that by no means makes it bad. I've always had a bit of a soft spot for this course. And besides, I think DK's had a much worse course than this before this one and DK Mountain, but again, that's for the next video. The layer is nice, the snowballs and the snowman at the end make for fun obstacles, and the music is great as well. Very joyful, let's put it that way. Oh, and you can't forget about the secret iron box that either gives you red shells or flipping star of all things. That's honestly quite overkill, but it's neat nonetheless. Honestly, I can't really see myself putting it any higher than B tier, so that's where this course is gonna go. Now, at the time of this video, I haven't even played TikTok Clock from Mario 64 in full yet. That's simply because, well, it's kinda hard, let's put it that way. But that by no means makes the TikTok Clock race course weak, because they went so hard on the theming here. From the clock hands being obstacles, the whole aesthetic being ripped directly from the N64 level itself, which admittedly kind of feels like it's being ripped from Mario 64 DS, but still. The moving gears in the middle, and the grey ones at the end that'll either give you a boost or slow you down at all costs. All of that crafted into one of the best courses in the whole game, and the series overall. The music as well is also really nice. Not top-notch or anything, but still a nice song. Although I will say, it did kind of feel weird going back to this version of the course after playing the Mario Kart 8 version a lot. But nonetheless, this is still an amazing course, even if it feels like a beta course. And it is still going into S tier, just not a higher tier. At least, not yet. Another Mario Circuit at the Star Cup, eh? Okay, bit weird, but whatever, it's no big deal. At least this Mario Circuit is one of the more better ones out there. Not there with the GameCube Mario Circuit, but I still think it's a nice course. Not great or amazing, just nice. I like the fire piranha plants and pipes being a nice obstacle. The Goomba story are nice and makes sense given that it's a Mario circuit. And the music is more listenable when it's this course and not bloody figure eight circuit for crying out loud. The pipe tunnel is also neat, and I guess the dirt road kind of mixes things up a bit, but that's not really saying much. But beyond that, not too much else to say. And like DK Pass from earlier, I don't see it moving up any higher or even lower than B tier. So that's where this course is gonna go. And we're ending the DS Star Cup on a high note, as we have none other than Airship Fortress. I'm telling you, these Star Cups hold some of the most beloved tracks in the whole series. Well, okay, all of the Nitro Cups do, but still, the theming of this course is amazing. I love that it takes inspiration from the classic airship levels from Mario Bros. 3 and Mario World, and it practically nails the theme here. You got bullet bills coming out of a cannon towards you, which makes sense as they appear in airship levels. You got rocky wrenches as obstacles, which again makes sense given the theming. You got breakable crates, and even a cannon to shoot out of, which is so cool to blast out of every race. And of course, you got the music, which is one of my all-time favorite themes in all of Mario Kart. I love the playful, taunting vibes it gives out. Yeah, the fortress itself is just one big loopy turn, but I still enjoy it a lot. Especially if you have a good car to handle the mini drifts. You know, it's funny that my top 3 favorite tracks in Mario Kart DS are the 3 tracks that have parts of them that I was scared of as a kid. Waluigi Pinball with the pinballs, Luigi's Mansion with the chandelier, and Airship Fortress with the bullet bills. Ironic, right? But enough about that. This course is going straight into the S++ tier. Easily the best course of this court by far. And my second favorite course of this game by far. And that brings the DS Star Cup to a close. Airship Fortress clears this cup by a long shot. TikTok Clock, though, is a very close second. Yeah, DK Fast and Mario Circuit are kind of bringing this down, but they're still solid courses, and this cup is still strong overall. Mario Kart Wii Star Cup kicks off with Daisy Circuit, which is probably my second or third favorite circuit track in the whole series. It's basically everything a circuit track asks for. It's got a good layout, a pretty nice shortcut you can take, but only if you have a mushroom, and also just a nice aesthetic. I also really enjoy the inclusion of the Luigi and Daisy statues, and vice versa with their baby counterparts. And the music as well is a lovely tune. Probably one of my favorite circuit themes in the whole series. Not top-notch or anything, but it's still a nice song. So yeah, not too much else to say. Good theming, good layout, nice little details like Daisy Cruiser in the background. I think Daisy Circuit is gonna land in high A tier. Our second Koopa themed track of this video. Well, like Koopa Beach 1, where I didn't really like it all that much, Koopa Cave is the complete polar opposite of that. This is what Water Park wishes it was. You got rushing water, a tube section, half pipes, a freaking waterfall near the end. Everything a water-themed track should be, even if underwater driving wasn't a thing yet. And yes, this is the only version where you get to witness the fully enclosed tube with the Koopa Zappers that basically act as the lightning bolt where they shrink you down. And you got a fantastic music piece to go along with it as well, which even changes with each section. And I love that because barely any track gets that treatment. Koopa Troopa definitely turned himself around in this video with this fantastic course. So much so that it easily belongs in S tier. Next is yet another fan favorite, Mayfall Treeway, which is probably the most fitting track to review around this time, and it's also another banger course. It pretty much is the idea of being shrunken down and going through a tree, while also seeing giant wigglers. This is honestly what you would expect from a StarCraft track, and I adore it so much. You got an amazing theme, a great layout, which has definitely tripped me up plenty of times. You got a nice shortcut where you have to use a mushroom to do it, similar to other mushroom-only shortcuts in this game. And you gotta love trying to weave between the giant wigglers at one part. And the music as well is another great music piece. Again, what is there to say about this track that hasn't already been said? It's an amazing course with a theme that goes a long way. And yep, it has another element that is exclusive to this version only. The bouncy trickable net, aka the Jack-Off Bridge. So yeah, if it weren't obvious already, this course is easily landing in S+ tier. And to end off this game's StarCraft is, well, a track that isn't really well liked all that much, but still is a classic. Grumble Volcano. And I gotta say, for being the cup ender, this is actually really well done. I like the idea of the course slowly crumbling over time across every lap. Yeah, it may not be a lot, and yeah, it's only just the far sides of the road, but still though. And yeah, the theming may just be your generic volcano course that we would see like hundreds of times in the new Survivor series, but I do like the element of having fireballs being hurled onto the track itself. Very similar to another track that we will get to in the next video. And you also have a few split path options as well, which is nice. And the music is another really good piece, really capturing the whole dangerous aesthetic that this course is going for it. My only gripe with this course though is actually something that I don't hear being brought up. And that is, I do wish that the octagons at one point were trickable, like the ramp at the beginning of the section is, so I don't see why it wouldn't have been a problem making them trickable too. But aside from that, this is a really strong way to end off this cup. It may not be S tier worthy, but it's still a high A tier without a doubt. And that concludes the Wii Star Cup. Maple Treeway clears this cup by a long shot, with Koopa Cave being a very close second. And honestly, this is seriously a contender for the best Star Cup in the whole series. But we'll just have to see what the next two cups have to offer first before I make that decision in due time. Starting out the 3DS Star Cup is Piranha Plant Slide / Pineway depending on your region. But regardless, what a way to start off this cup. It's basically one of the many underground levels in the 2D games transformed into a Mario Kart track. Although this one seems to be taken directly from the original underground levels in Super Mario Bros. This course is a ton of fun to race through. You got rushing rabbits like in Koopa Cave, you got Piranha Plant and Goober obstacles to avoid like in the original levels, and you just got a great theming of going through a pipe. You even got a section where you go underwater how to avoid another Piranha Plant. Although I will say, going back to this iteration of the underwater section after playing so much of 8th rendition of it was a complete whiplash. I like the additional shortcuts you could do in the end, but only have a mushroom. Oh, and the music is another banger song all around. So I think it's safe to say that we have a strong start to the cup. So Piranha Plant Slide is going right into S tier. Oh man, I have to say, going back to this iteration of Warrior Shipyard after playing its remake in World was, again, complete whiplash. But about that, Warrior Shipyard, or Galleon depending on your region, is a very fascinating course. There's quite a bit going on here, but I do like the whole sunken ship kind of feeling as going for it. Plus, the way it handles underwater driving here is done quite well here. Better than how Chi-Chi's Lagoon did it by a long shot. The music is also really good, but isn't really anything too special compared to, say, Wario's Gold Mine song, but still a good song. And like other tracks, I like the optional paths you can take. There's one at the beginning, one towards the middle after the windpipes, despite the fact that the right path is a bit tricky to take. And even one towards the end where, if you glide high enough, you can take the boost pads. And you gotta love shooting out of the cannon via a glide ramp. And I never go a single lap without tricking off the end ramp, because it's so much fun to pull off. The only little gripe I have with this course is I do kinda wish the wind was struckable here, because it kinda feels underwhelming, but not a big deal. So yeah, another fun course. While again it's not S tier worthy or anything, it's still a high A tier. Ah yes, one of Ika's favorite courses when discussing Mario Kart. Putting that aside though, Neo Bowser City, or Koopa City depending on your region, is a ton of fun. Yeah, the rain can make things a bit challenging, but I love a bit of challenge, as long as it's not frustrating. It also has a really cool aesthetic of being in a futuristic city. Makes for a great change for Bowser rather than having the same old castle every single time. I also love the music on this course, as it's a remix of several themes, with the best in my opinion being the Toad's Turnpike remix on one part, despite my feelings towards the actual track itself. And there's even the little fan shotgun that you can take, but it is kinda hard to reach, in this version of the course at least. But yeah, great course. Fun theming and layout, great music, and I can see why Ika loves this course. So much so that I think it deserves to be a low S tier course. And to end off this cup is the second out of the two Woohoo Island courses in this game, Maka Woohoo, or Woohoo Mountain Loop depending on your region. Funny how all four of these Star Cup courses have different names depending on the region it's in. But anyways, what a finale to this cup this was. Honestly, I think I may have a hard time picking between the two Woohoo Island courses in this game because they're both on equal footing. You gotta love tricking off the humps in the road at the beginning, and even going through the same castle scene in the Archery and Swordplay Showdown modes to the original game. The music is still a banger, and again, gotta love the two different options at the beginning, like every track that has an optional route. And the best part, the glide back down to the Swordplay Stadium at the end, which is probably the longest glide out of any Mario Kart game, at least so far it is. Now yeah, like I said in the last video, the two tracks are just a straight line with not really a lot, but they could be worse. Besides, they're more so spectacle over substance. So yeah, if it weren't already obvious, this is another phenomenal course, and it easily belongs in the same tier as Woohoo Loop. And you know what? I'm gonna say it. It is a real criminal that these two are the only courses in this game that have never returned in any future entry. Not even in Tour. Which is such a shame because they're awesome courses and provoke a lot of Wii Sports Resort nostalgia. But hey, maybe they'll be in Mario Kart World's DLC. Who knows? But nonetheless, that was the 3DS Star Cup. Maka Woohoo clears this cup by a long shot. And in fact, this is another strong contender for the best Star Cup in the whole series. Right now, it's looking that way. But will Mario Kart 8 stop this one? Well, let's find out. Kicking off the Wii U Star Cup is Sunshine Airport. And again, what a start to the cup this was. This is a course that is more so spectacle over substance. The layout's a bit simple, but its theming is what carries this course. Like, give me more courses like this, please. I love courses that have places where cars shouldn't be racing. The music is a bop as well, but that's to be expected by Mario Kart 8 standards. And yeah, the anti-gravity section kinda feels a bit forced, but it feels good to play on nonetheless, and I guess it only makes sense to have it, as it would have felt awkward to leave one course without the new gimmick. I mean, we did see that in Mario Kart 7 after all. And the reason why I say it's spectacle over substance is because of the attention to detail in certain things. Like the ominous PA announcer that's never heard of a normal race, the signs, the fact that when you're near any of the planes, the game audio will be slightly muted, or the fucking background reference to Koopa Troopa Beach. Like, that is just an amazing detail. So yeah, I think it's safe to say that we have another S-tier worthy track on our hands. Oh, now we are talking with an actually great water-themed course. Like, seriously, Waterpark is cowering in the shadows with these. First Koopa Cave, then Piranha Plant Slide, and now Dolphin Shoals. Again, another simple layout, but everything it does is everything you would want in a water-themed stage. You got a cool aesthetic, fun alternate paths, and even little things like tricking off of the eels back multiple times, actually tricking off of the wind this time, especially coming out of the water for the final turn over some rushing rapids. Like, that is next level effort right there. And on top of that, you have probably the best thing about this course. It's music. This is easily one of the best teams in the game by far. Especially the part where you come out of the water for the final turn. I know I'm not the only one to say this, but it's true. So yeah, another great course in this cup. And it may not be high up in the tier rating, but it's still an easy S tier nonetheless. Man, this course just keeps hitting us, doesn't it? So much so that I think you may know where this will be going. But I'm getting ahead of myself here. Next is Electrodrome, and it automatically tops Music Park. I just love how Nintendo was like, how can we improve upon what came before? Let's make it take place within a freaking nightclub. And holy shit, did they go all out here? It's basically what Music Park would be like in a modern setting. You got split parts, one green and one pink, that whenever you go onto them, the music changes, which is a really cool detail. And once they end, the notes change color, and you have a sick glide towards the end. Like, if that's not going for the spectacle element, I don't know what is. Oh, and you gotta love the Mario enemies dancing on that big screen as well. And the music? Come on! Do I really need to say why this music slaps? No, because it speaks for itself. I know it sounds like I didn't really have all that much to comment on, but that just goes to show that with an incredible theming, it goes a long way. I bet you can already tell where this course is going. Straight into S tier, end of story. And what a finale to not just this cup, but this video we have here. Mount King Wario. I mean, do I need to say anything about just how spectacular of a finale to this cup was? It's a section-based track and a Wario track. Two things that you would have thought would be combined. Section 1 is you straight up jumping out of a helicopter followed by going down some icy roads, which can be trippy, but I don't mind that. Section 2 is you going into a cave followed by going through a dam. Section 3 is you dodging some trees, which, again, can be trippy, but is oh so satisfying to pull off. And Section 4 is a straight up downhill ski slope adventure, which definitely gives me Snow Under vibes. And yet, every section flows so nicely together, making it so seamless. And plus, you're going down a giant mountain for God's sake. Like, if that's not amazing track design, I don't know what is. So yeah, this track is the perfect balance between a real adventure and it being a section track. So much so that it easily gets to sit in S++ tier. Easily one of, if not the best Mario Kart 8 track by a long shot. And is easily a strong contender for the best Starcom track next to Airship Fortress. Whew. Now that was an amazing call. What an ending to this video this was. Wario easily takes the cake here. And yes, I'm gonna say it. This right here, in my opinion, is the best Star Cup in the entire series. He just couldn't stop hitting us with bangers. And I love it for that alone. And that brings us to the end of this video. And what an adventure it was. Going from the travesty of Super Mario Kart Star Cup to the absolute peak of Mario Kart 8 Star Cup. But what is the best Star Cup track? Well, I have my top 5 right here, which were Airship Fortress, Wario, Makawoohoo, Maple Treeway, and Koopa Cape. But you guys all know what my favorite is here. Airship Fortress by a long shot. But Wario and Makawoohoo are not too far behind. But I hope you guys are ready for the next video, as we will be tackling all 8 of the special cups, which yield the course that is nearly everyone's worst nightmare. Rainbow Road. Boy, is this gonna be an interesting video or what? But if you guys want to stay tuned for that video, make sure to leave a like, subscribe, and turn on post notifications to stay up to date and to not miss out on the newest content. Until next time, bye guys.